In the Form 12th Economics, chapter number 3, Liberalization, Privatization and Globalization, it is the frame number 21st. In this frame number 21st, we will discuss an analysis on the remaining issues that were disinvestment policy of the government and fiscal policy after the reforms, means during the post-reforms periods. As we have already discussed about the disinvestment, just I want to recall you some important aspects that in the government budget or government receipt, there are many ways to get the money or inflow of money or funds. Like revenue receipts. Revenue receipts are of two types. One is tax receipts and non-tax receipts. In the tax receipt, there is further two types are there, like the tax and tax receipt, direct tax and indirect taxes. In the non-tax receipts, the government get money like registration fee, like fines, challans, etc. Then we have the capital receipts directly related to the money or finance and funds. The government can borrow the money from the other countries, from international institutions like IMF and World Bank. The government also get money by the recovery of loans. And very third important thing, this is the disinvestment. In disinvestment policy, the government sell its share and the assets of the public sector enterprises. So that is a way to get the funds. So disinvestment, selling of assets of public sector units or public sector enterprises, especially the SIC units. From the units, the government does not expect well performance in the coming future. The government find it suitable to sell these assets and to get the money or funds. So disinvestment refers to selling the government assets or selling the assets of PSUs or public sector units or public sector undertakings or public sector enterprises or of SIC units. Disinvestment is a way to get funds. The money or funds received from disinvestment is a part of capital receipt. See, it is the funds raised from the disinvestment is not a part of revenue receipts. It is a part of capital receipts because it reduces the assets of the government. After the 1991 LPG reforms, the government collected funds through disinvestment to a great extent. For example, in 91-92, the amount which have been collected or mobilized through disinvestment was 3,040 crores rupees. And the government every year disinvests the assets and get the money. And ultimately, till we have the data in our book, in 2014-15, the government raised 34,500 crores through disinvestment. Although this target was below by the expectation of the government, because government was expecting to mobilize 56,000 crores, but the government could mobilize only 34,500 crores by the disinvestment. So the disinvestment, there were many issues, like corruption is also one of the issue to get the funds from disinvestment. The less valuation of the assets of the government was one of the issue. Many issues were there, and the political interference were also there always in issues like disinvestment. So we are not going very much deep, but ultimately disinvestment of the assets, especially of non-performing units, it has given lot of money, lot of funds to the government for the use of government budget, as the government receives in the title of the capital receipts. Now the second is the policy, fiscal policies. Fiscal policy is nothing, it is the budgetary policy or the government budget. government received the money or funds and spend it on the different fields or areas like defense, health and education, like public sector undertakings, social services, infrastructure development. But important thing is that there should be enough funds with the government to spend. Okay, so after 1991 reforms of the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, it has been observed the government has also brought some major changes in the budgetary policy or fiscal policy. The one of the most important change was the government has reduced its expenditure or spendings on the public welfare or the public related activities. So what may be the reasons? We will discuss in this all these things in length. So regarding the fiscal policies, the changes have come due to 1991 liberalization, privatization and globalization reforms. There were some changes in the fiscal policy by the Indian government. The major change, it was like the reduction on the growth of public expenditure. Earlier, what was the trend that every year in the government budget, the government increased the spendings on the public expenditure. But after the reforms, it has been observed that reduction on the growth of public expenditure and social welfare. There were some reasons behind this. Naturally, if the government have enough or ample funds, then government will definitely spend the money on the public welfare, social welfare, and the developmental issues like infrastructure development and other things. But the main reason was there were less funds, and to a great extent the new policies which were imposed by the World Bank, IMF and other financial institutions on India government, they have also played a major role for these adverse conditions. Like number A, decrease in the tax collection. The one of the major source for the government receipts, as we can see here, it is the tax collection. So there are mainly two types of taxes: direct tax and indirect taxes. Direct taxes, we have corporate tax, we have wealth tax, we have most importantly income tax. Although government has reduced the slab for the tax collection and try to reduce the chances of the tax evasion, but these chances and these steps that were taken by the government for the tax collection, they have not been implemented properly, or secondly, the result were not as they were expected. So the decrease in the tax collection from direct tax and indirect tax, it was an issue which led towards the less inflow of the funds in the government receipts. Point B, with the policy of liberalization, the tariff duties on import have been reduced heavily. Naturally, with the liberalization, we have opened our economy for world-class companies. And there were pressure from the international financial institutions and the developed countries to reduce the tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. The tariff barriers or import duty, it is one of the important resource to increase the government revenue. But with the reduction of the tariff duties to a great extent, the part that government used to receive from the tariffs, that has come down. So with the policy of liberalization, the tariff duties or import duties on import have been reduced heavily to a great extent. They have been reduced. And point C, the taxes over foreign investment. See, India was a developing country, so it need the capital and especially the foreign investment in the form of FDI, foreign direct investment, and foreign institutional investment, FII. So the taxes over foreign investment FDI and FII have been reduced to attract more foreign capital from rest of the world. ROW stands here for the rest of the world. So all these reasons adversely affected the inflow of funds for the government budget. So these are main reasons regarding the changes in the fiscal policy.